Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bears on Tap. Today, we're going to be recapping the 16-13 heartbreaking loss to the Baltimore Ravens. I'm your host, Brandon Suarez. You can follow me on Twitter at Bdon300. Today, I'm joined by my co-host Joey Rigoda at Riot326 and Ron Luce at Luce on Tap. Boys, the game had a little bit of everything, a lot of turnovers, a lot of injuries going into this game. A lot of the people that we talked about in the pregame, guys like Marquise Brown, Lamar Jackson, a bunch of players, and then a bunch of players were getting hurt during the game. Justin Fields also got hurt during the game, thus catapulting Andy Dalton into the game in the second half. And he actually played really well, but in the end, it wasn't enough. And the defense, despite a great performance all afternoon, couldn't get that final stop at the end of the game. So, with that being said, Ron, what are your initial thoughts on this loss?
Now, my initial thoughts is it's just the same shit, different day. I mean, it really is what this team feels like. We're seeing almost exactly what happened against Pittsburgh, just a little different, right? Because obviously the offense played really well in the second half against Pittsburgh. Fields had by far his best game as a pro, and the defense couldn't get it done for one reason or another. We saw that Marsh penalty, whether you agreed with it or not, really screw the Bears and give the Steelers that game. You fast forward to today's game. The defense plays great all day. The offense goes ahead in, let's be honest, ridiculously unlikely fashion with Goodwin catching that touchdown. But then as soon as, Goodwin catches the touchdown and, the defense comes back out, they're tired. A terrible DPI by Vildor late in the game really screws them. And then the Ravens march down the field, take the lead, and they win the game. Like, it literally is same shit, different day with this team. And we've seen it 2 weeks in a row now. And again, you guys have been saying it all year here on Bears on Tap, and I'm going to reiterate it. It all goes back to the bald fraud, and he needs to be canned immediately. And that's my initial thought watching today's game was get rid of him, flip this roster on its fucking head, and let's just move on.
Joey?
It's too much pain, guys. I can't take it.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying too. Like, before we get to you, Joey, I'm sure you guys are both in the same camp that every single emotion that they have on like those little stress cards at the social or the psychologist, we emotionally felt all of those emotions in the last quarter. You have the highest of the highs with the Goodwin touchdown. You get the pick with Travis Gibson. Like, they had a lot of key sacks and tackles for loss in that fourth quarter. You just blow it at the end. But Joey, where are you at with this 16-13 devastating loss?
It's kind of like what Ron said, like it's just more of the same, and I'm fucking sick of it. And we start off. We can look back at that blowing the game late there, and I just go back to the first quarter. Like, it starts there for me, and then like you just see everything progress, and of course you don't want to lose Fields midway through the game, and then Dalton obviously came in and played fine, and pretty well really, but as good as you can ask of him given the circumstances, but. Like that first drive, right? They drive down the field. Everything's going good. You got a 3rd and 1. You do that stupid fucking shotgun pitch bullshit again. On 3rd and 1, you kick a field goal, and the guy misses the field goal. And I have no idea if that's because the guy's confidence is shot, not shot, but, maybe shaken a little bit because you just made the guy fucking kill his kicking streak there by kicking a 800-yard field goal at Heinz Field. But you got to walk away there with 7 points right off the bat. You put that young quarterback in a position, in a hole, 7-0 early. We're not in this position right now. So I'm a little pissed off, and it's just more of the same, man. I'm pissed at the coach and just, all of it. I don't know.
Yeah, and I may have botched this, or I may botch this, but it was either 3 of 4 games or 4 of the last 5 games where we have 0 points going into the half. And it's like,
yep.
It almost felt like you were watching like a high school football game with 2 offenses that couldn't throw the ball. Like, they're just playing between the 20s, running the ball, punting. And I know we talked about it on the pregame. Like, in a game like this, Lamar, no Lamar, you're at home. You're playing a team that has better players than you, that is more like it's better coached. It's a well-run franchise. They're obviously going to have an upper hand in every single game. But you have to be able to capitalize early, and it was like the equivalent of a bubble screens and bullshit play call with that 3rd and 5 pitch where it's like you are already 3 yards or 4 yards behind the line. Now you're asking your running back to get 9 yards and he doesn't have like a full head of steam. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that
Wildcat too. That Wildcat.
God,
Dude,
yeah,
what the fuck was that? I have nothing against the Wildcat, but why would you do it there? That was mind-boggling to me. You put them even further too on that, just like you're saying. And then obviously, they were calling it out. You went the wrong way, whatever. That's just a shitty play call. Like, just not in that situation. I hate that.
Yeah, the third and fourth down play calling is terrible. If you guys remember, I think this was the third quarter or maybe early fourth quarter where they had the 3rd and 1. They throw the bomb. The bomb it just misses Darnell Mooney or Goodwin. I don't remember exactly who it was.
Mooney, yeah.
And they send the punt team out, and then they call a timeout, and then they send out and that's the Wildcat play. I'm pretty sure that's like the whole lead up to that. Yeah. My headset's not working. I mean,
dude, he got booed, and then he just wanted to fucking, oh no, I got to do this.
Yeah, blame it on the communications guy. I mean, Ron, you said it before we started, and you said it when we started. At what point do we get rid of this guy? Like, he clearly is not the head coach that we need. And the way I looked at it, I texted one of my buddies after the game. I'm like, if we wanted to have any hope for this season, if we wanted to be in the bottom corner of that Fox in the Hunt graphic, we needed to win today. And I don't even know if we're going to win on Thursday. I think we will because it's the Lions, and the Lions are a shit show. But these last 2 weeks, 1-possession games where you take the lead in the final 2 minutes of the game and you can't get that stop. And that's the difference between 3-7 and 5-5. And it's
Absolutely.
not like we talked about it last week. It's not like Big Ben is great right now. We let Tyler Huntley, a guy in his first start, have his way with us on that drive. And as a defense, you just absolutely cannot allow that to happen. There's plenty of different stops and events during the game that even led us to be in that position. But it goes back to what you said, Joey. These type of games, you have to start fast. And was I like, we can probably make a game of it at halftime? Yes, but it's never easy. And I want to say, like, I can't remember the last time we tuned in. Like, you guys can maybe enlighten me on a Sunday, Monday, whatever day of the week that we played, where we got 4 quarters of football from this team. I cannot put a finger on it.
We don't get it.
No, it's probably been years since we gotten a full four quarter game. Honestly, like when was it? Maybe last season with that Houston Texans game. Like maybe.
Oh, and that shit don't count.
Right.
The
Texans,
Texans,
that's what I'm saying. You have to
Jaguars game, maybe.
Right.
I don't know if that
you
was
have to play the worst possible team. Like realistically, if we're talking like a complete 4th quarters in the Matt Nagy era, maybe that Tampa Bay Buccaneers game when Mitch threw for 5 touchdowns or 6 touchdowns or whatever, like that was in 2018. That was like week 5 of 2018. It's 2021, folks, and it's week 11. So we are over a full 3 seasons removed from that. Like they just, and again, but it all goes back up to the top. It top down. And you know what? And this stuck with me so badly because admittedly, I listened to a lot of game on the radio. I was traveling back from Peoria today. Got enough of the feel of the game. I didn't even need to see it because Jeff Joniak is beautiful at describing what's happening.
Oh, yeah.
But literally, I got back in time to see the 4th quarter. And Tony Romo said it on the broadcast, and he said it perfectly. He said the Ravens are just a top to bottom, just model organization in the NFL. And my first thought was, yep, and the Bears are the farthest thing from that, and that's why the Ravens are going to win this game. Like, that is exactly what came to my brain because this is what we see time and time again. Why do, like, people always sit here and wonder, like, just a casual NFL fan, like, why are the Steelers good every year, even if they have a talent deficit, or why are the Ravens good every because they have a good fucking head coach and they have a front office that knows what they're doing and an ownership group that isn't totally incompetent. And unfortunately, the team that we all bleed for and root for has all those problems. Like, they don't have a quality head coach. They don't have a quality front office right now. And yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm probably one of the biggest Brian Pace truthers out there. Like, I think he's done a lot of good. I think he's also done a lot of bad, but so does every fucking GM. But like, you guys have said it perfectly, Bdon, just a couple shows ago. Like, when the football knowledge stops at the general manager in any organization, that's a problem. And Because they don't know how to hire a good coach. They don't know how to give a GM any type, because he was a first-time GM when he came to the Bears. Like, there's nobody there to guide him along. And you look at all the great organizations like the Baltimore Ravens, even though he's not there anymore, like Ozzie Newsome laid a great foundation in their front office. And now you're starting, you keep seeing that. John Harbaugh is one of the best coaches in the NFL year in and year out. Like, God, I would kill for that, for the Chicago Bears. Like, it just, but again, we're a tortured fan base, and we will never see that, because as long as the McCaskey family owns the team and the bald fraud is the head coach, and just this entire shit show continues to operate every Sunday like clockwork, it's almost as like the CTA is more efficient right now than the Chicago Bears. And like, I don't know, I mentally, physically, and emotionally can't handle it anymore. And it's just, it's depressing, because then we see shit like this today. Like, holy shit, good for Andy Dalton stepping up and fucking showing off this fucking, that, red carpet that he's got downstairs with his meat on the table, and drives the team down the field and gets a big touchdown to Goodwin. Something that I was screaming in the car, listening on the radio, saying, why the fuck are we not challenging this Ravens defense downfield? Like, when Justin Fields in the game, how many deep balls did they throw? 2, maybe the entire game, that I can honestly think of before he got hurt?
There wasn't many. It was a significantly toned back play call sheet. And honestly, one of my buddies brought this point out to me in one of my group chats during the game. Do you guys think that he may not be calling all the plays, but he's got to be sneaking something?
Oh, he absolutely is. He's the one that did the bullshit shotgun pitch on 3rd and 1, and he's
the Wildcat.
Yes, that has Nagy's fingerprints all over it.
Yeah,
all over.
Yeah, I don't know. Joey, for you, what are your thoughts on these allegations of Nagy sneaking in a couple play calls? And like Ron said, those are 2 that have his fingerprints written all over them. Cheeto dusted fingerprints, that motherfucker.
He's got his hand in the cookie jar and all that shit. I believe it. I think he definitely had a part of that, or was calling both of those plays, because there's only one way. We don't see that. I don't think, not that Lazer's like this great play caller. Like, I'm not going to sit there and say that Lazer's a significantly better play caller. I don't believe that either, but I don't think he calls that, like, either one of those plays. He's not calling either one of those plays. And I don't know, man. I'm just so frustrated, because it's like, we talked about that Goodwin play, which was incredible, by the way, but like, there were so many opportunities and just points left on the table, points left on the board, even with Dalton at quarterback, that it's like, it's mind-boggling to me. Like, how do you let this shit happen? And you got Montgomery, and you were talking about like not taking the top off the defense earlier. Yeah, how this team gave up the most passing yards coming into this game per game was the Baltimore Ravens. That's why we were talking about in the preview and all that. They have to throw the ball, like, let Justin Fields cook. And we didn't really get to see much of that. I mean, I know there was a little bit of a miscommunication there, probably with Mooney earlier too, which, led to a punt, I believe, at, I think it was second drive of the game or third drive of the game. But, obviously we didn't get to see the full potential of that build because Fields got hurt. But it's frustrating, man. And Cole Kmet, once again, like, you have a huge game and he's just like MIA, like, you're just not even going to him at all. Like, David Montgomery could have been more of a factor too, I feel like, out of the backfield. That's one thing I wanted to see, was him in the receiving game too. Like, that's frustrating, man.
And you know what that goes back to? Do you here again, even though, it's great that they were like, hey, Lazar's going to call the plays, whatever, that's fine. But realistically, let's be honest. We all know Matt Nagy's ego is larger than his dome that he wears an ugly fucking visor with every week. Like, he is the one that ultimately gets the final say on what the play sheet is every week. And how, as a head coach, like, literally, again, you can ask my friend that I was driving the car with that had to listen to me bitch at the radio for 2 hours this afternoon. Literally, I was saying, when you have a team who's down multiple starters in their secondary, already is one of the worst passing secondaries in the entire league, and are without their star quarterbacks, so their offense is going to look different. You actually have a shot. Why are you not every other play on first down taking a shot downfield? That is head coaching incompetency at its absolute finest, because he helps install the game plan. He helps install what they're going to do that week and talk about what they're going to see and everything like that. And guess what? We saw it on full display today, because I'll tell you what, Bill Lazor could be the greatest play caller in the world, and we would never know it, because he's getting handed a piece of fucking trash from Matt Nagy every week.
Nagy's play.
That is a play, right? That is a play sheet, and it's like until that gets changed. And one other thing in terms of incompetence here, I'm driving the stake right now into Matt Nagy. Shared with us in our Bears room, here we are, the Bears on Tap. During the press conference, obviously we're doing this while Nagy's speaking. Matt Nagy on the Fields injury, and if it was suffered in a single play or a cumulative thing, I have no idea. We know, Matt. We know you have no idea.
I have no idea. We all know.
Because if he had any idea what he was doing as a head coach, the Bears wouldn't have lost today. Because there was enough things that went right in their favor. Jackson not playing, Marquise Brown not playing. The defense was without 2 to 3 starters in the secondary.
Yeah.
You have a young, promising quarterback. And sure, you were down a lot of people too, but your defense balled the hell out for 3 quarters and kept you in the game. No excuse why they should have won that game. If John Harbaugh was the Bears head coach today, given the same circumstance, Bears come out on top. And again, it just reinforces how terribly really unprepared the Bears were in general today, both discipline-wise on the field. You talk about the DPI and all the other dumbass plays that happened throughout the game, and just the strategy in general. Like, I cannot believe if you're getting, let's say they run Monty on first down and he gets 4 or 5 yards. How are you not taking a shot on second down against a depleted secondary? That's just good play calling. That's just good strategy. And they didn't do it all day. And it's like, how do you expect to be successful when your idea of a successful play chart involves 18 different plays that involve a 3-yard drag route across the fucking middle? I don't understand it. And I'm dumbfounded. I'm sorry. I'm hogging.
Oh, no, you're good.
I'm just livid.
I was going to say, here's another one too. So even on those plays, players weren't catching the damn ball today. There was a lot of drop passes.
Drops, yeah.
We're not going to single anyone out because it was pretty much damn near everyone. But you can't have that. You can't have negative plays. The line was folding up when Fields was in. That ultimately led to him. Hopefully it's a cracked rib. Hopefully it's something. Just don't say the B word. Don't say broken. And if it's broken, put him on ice. Nick Foles. I saw a tweet earlier in the game. It says Nick Foles just be cooling. Let's go Nick Foles, Andy Dalton. If it's a broken rib, don't even bring Fields back. There's nothing to play for left in the season. I think the best case scenario, this team could go 7-10 or 6-11. And I absolutely hate how unesthetically pleasing the new records are. I've been so accustomed to the 16-game records for my entire life. It's ridiculous. It's kind of just being a weirdo, but I don't see this team even having an opportunity to be above 500. If they wanted to do anything with their season, it was in Joey's terms, a 2-game parlay. They had to win today, and they have to win on Thursday. They'll probably win on Thursday. Matt Nagy will be all fucking riled up. And you know what's going to happen, too? We haven't even brought this up. Andy Dalton, while he did ball out, Matt Nagy is infatuated with Andy Dalton. And now if Fields is healthy to the point where he can come back, we're going to have that conversation again. And then now Fields is going to be pressing. You know what I'm saying? So it's good for Andy. It's if we end up sticking with him, but Matt Nagy is in press mode. He's trying to coach for his job. And if he thinks Dalton's the better guy, which he was by all accounts today, then he'll go with Andy Dalton, which will leave us not developing Fields, which has been the plan all along, is to get him developed.
Yeah, and it was a little bit unfair, obviously, because we know what was happening when Fields was on the field today. It wasn't really just all him, and it was he missed a couple balls, but Dalton was missing a couple too. Before, basically that last play, or that last one to Goodwin, there were some plays out there that he was missing too. He was missing some balls. So it wasn't like he played terrific. And I mean, in my opinion, you just can't once you let this dude come out of the shed, once you let Fields get on the field and you've seen the progress we've seen from him, you just can't go back. That's a fireable offense right there. If you're going to say when Fields is healthy and Dalton's still the guy, no matter what happens, if Fields can't play this next game because it's a short week, especially, you just cannot go back to that. Dude, we lost to the dude from Mario Kart today. Jason Peters got his fucking ass whooped by Bowser today. Like it just can't.
He's a linebacker too, right? Like he's not even a D end, or is
I think is he edge?
he's
I don't know.
he's probably like that combo, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? He hasn't had like a terrific season to this point though, or anything. Like I don't know how many sacks he had. They had a few sacks today, but it felt like they were getting pressure though.
There was two lone bright spots in my opinion. The front seven looked really good today, but as you guys pointed out, there was no gas left in that tank. They were waiting for AAA on the side of the road, and there was no bodies to be subbed in that were good enough players because everyone's fucking hurt right now. And then two, I also want to say that I'm not going to give Matt Nagy the credit, but the designed runs and the ability to use Justin Fields' legs in the first half, I think made a difference. Obviously, we didn't finish any of those drives with points, but you don't have to box Justin Fields in. If he wants to run, if he wants to be a little bit like maybe 55 pass, 45 run, like let him teeter that line. The guy often is the fastest guy on the field. Like, you know what I'm saying? He is an elite talent when he is in open space, and you got to trust him to be able to make the right decision to get out of bounds and slide, because he has taken a lot of shots this year, and ultimately that's what led to him being out of the game. And no, I don't have a visor on. I'm not sitting in a press conference. I just fucking know what I watched. You get your quarterback's dick kicked into the dirt, eventually he's going to leave the game. Like, so for Matt Nagy, it was probably a cumulative of his dick just getting rubbed into the dirt for a whole half against a defense that, even though they're depleted, if there's one thing that you guys and our listeners know about the Baltimore Ravens, it doesn't matter what year it is, they're going to have some tough SOBs on that side of the ball.
Yep, they always do, and they always have. I mean, that's just what it is. But I mean, I completely agree with you, dude. It's just like you have to let Fields. And honestly, let's take a second to kind of revisit the whole incompetency versus competency in at the top. Look at the Baltimore Ravens. They drafted Lamar Jackson, this guy that everybody said needed to change positions. He can't be a quarterback in the NFL. Bullshit. And a lot of fans said bullshit because all the people telling them bullshit were all the old school, like, oh, you have to not be a running quarterback to be successful in the NFL.
The Bill Polian people, those motherfuckers,
atrocious. But look at what the Ravens did. They completely engineered their team to Lamar Jackson's strengths, and he went out, he won an MVP, and he's arguably right back in that conversation again this season. Like, they did the right thing. You set up a strong rushing attack that opens everything else up for Jackson, whether it's with his legs or with his arm, because he's shown he's an elite arm talent as well. Like, I'm not saying that Fields needs to be the same thing. Like, you don't need to replicate it exactly, but you can learn a lot from the situation of, like, it's possible to play to a guy's strengths. The problem is there's just so many of these head coaches that are just so fucking egotistical that they're like, oh, well, it's my system or nothing. And Nagy's been that. Like, we've seen it time and time and time again. And, like, now you're starting to sit here and wonder because, like, Nagy's too proud to leave a tight end and a running back in to block when you know the Ravens are bringing pressure on third down for Fields, when you know your offensive line is, like, realistically one injury away from being, like, worse than Swiss cheese in terms of the amount of holes on it. Like, it's just, it's mind-boggling. Again, it's this incompetency of coaching today. Like, because then, like you said, Bdon, then your quarterback's getting his dick kicked in for an entire half. And then when he finally takes that last shot, he's hurt. And it's like, well, no shit, Dick Tracy, because you think it's more important to have 5 guys out on a route on 3rd and 2 than it is just to protect your quarterback and let him make a high percentage throw.
And they still throw it. They still throw it short of the sticks with a 5 receiver set.
And it's
like it's always like a little drag route. Yeah, it's incredible.
It's dumb. It really is, because just like, again, and that too goes back to, like, coaching, like the basic thing. Bdon, you not, but Joe, you played football too. Were you not taught as a receiver to find the sticks when your route is if it's 2nd and 4 and you're running a 4-yard route? Find the fucking sticks.
Find the sticks and pitch a spot right there.
Right.
Especially if they're in a zone, dude, you got time.
Right. But again, like, Matt Nagy's more enthralled with the 2-yard cross on 3rd and 4, and because the guy's not entirely open, he gets tackled for a 3-yard gain, and it's 4th and 1, and then they punt it away every fucking time. I'll get off my Nagy.
If
bitch
I'm not
train business.
mistaken, though, too, even before, like, if we go back to the drive that they scored the touchdown to go ahead, that 3rd and 6, if I'm not mistaken, didn't they take a shot too? Like, they weren't going for the sticks?
They took some deep shots there on 3rd down that didn't really make sense. Like
Yeah.
way deep where it was like short yardage too, and they just took like, I'm like, that's not the situation. Like you do that on 2nd down when you had like
that's like, hey, it's 2nd and 4. Now let's take the shot because then at least you have a manageable 3rd down on the other side.
And like what you're saying, Ron, like get to the fucking sticks, get past the sticks, but you don't have to bombs over Baghdad on 3rd and 2 or like, you know.
Well, and here's one too, guys. So you know how I got about last week's game with giving Ben Roethlisberger too much time. You think with that play call in the huddle, right? I don't know if they actually had Matt Nagy in the huddle for that because I think they burned through all their timeouts, which is another issue that he continues to be terrible at.
He had a call timeout on that one where the headset thing, right?
Yeah. And then in the 4th quarter on the last drive, he got rid of the second one at the midfield 4th down. If we wouldn't have gotten that, we would have been toast because we would have only had one timeout and like 1:48 left. But as a coach, dude, Pat Mahomes is so fucking back right now. As a coach, you have to tell your receiver, like, yo, if they're in a cover 0 and that ball's a grenade and not a single Raven would have been hit with any single shrapnel, you run that ball to the 1, you fall down. I know that, like, that may not have crossed Matt Nagy's mind because it is Matt Nagy, but, like, you have to think like that. You saw last year, who was it, Todd Gurley? And I know it's totally different because you got Goodwin, who is like a 99 in speed. But, like, from a mental standpoint, it's insanity because, again, we hit the kill shot 2 minutes too early. I think, like, what I really wanted, and obviously I turned into a nutcase for the last, like, 3 minutes of that game. Like, I just flipped my phone and I was like, put your seatbelt on, let's ride. Yeah. I wanted them to be in a situation that no matter what, the last play of the game, the ball was in our hands. And I know beggars can't be choosers. Like, that was an absolutely insane moment. Great play, great throw, great play call, golf clap. I'm sure that wasn't Matt Nagy's play call, but situational awareness and discipline are seen week in and week out as reasons why we're losing football. And I know I'm just a guy with a podcast. We're all just podcasters here, but you have to know the situation. They had 2 timeouts. We could have really just drawn that out and daggered them with like 10 seconds left.
Well, and then that's the same thing that happened against the Steelers too. Like you said, like they didn't take up enough time. Like they let them come back because they had all the time in the world, and the same exact thing happened this time. And it's hard to teach a player that. Like I agree with you with the Todd Gurley thing. You know, he stayed in front of the goal line. He didn't cross. You know, kind of dove, and then people had him on their fantasy team. They're fucking pissed because he didn't score a touchdown. You know, whatever. But you're playing to win a game, and that's a smart decision there. It's tough for even Marquise Goodwin. Like you get that bomb, and he's just thinking, I'm housing this. Like you're taught that. You know, you're taught just to score. Like you catch a pass that deep, like it's over with. You're going to the goalpost. So like, I don't know. I know it's situational football. I can't really be upset about that. But like, then didn't he call a timeout when they were going for 2 too? Like,
oh yes, yeah. So
wait, he did. No, I didn't see that.
He called Burns a timeout because they go to line up for the extra point. So they go line up for the extra point, and then he realized the penalty. Right? Well, there was the penalty. It was the roughing the passer call on the Ravens.
Yeah.
And rather than, and this was another dumbass fucking Nagy bullshit, like almost like against the Steelers when he wasted all those timeouts. Burns a timeout, takes the penalty on the conversion instead of letting it be the 15 on the kickoff. And then they don't even convert. Yeah, they get it in the 1 instead of the 2.
It was a terrible play call. He had one option on that play. It was I hate in the red zone. Goal line fades. We talked about that on Friday.
Awful.
That's the absolute worst play call in the playbook down there because you're limiting your opinion. You're limiting your options. The opinions will be flying in the columns and on shows like this after a play call like that. But yeah, I don't have like too many bright spots. I think that Roquan Smith is the best fucking linebacker in the entire NFL, and I'm
Oh
tired of
my
him being
God,
disrespected.
dude.
What did he have? 12 tackles in the first half?
12 tackles, I think, in the first half. Yeah.
That's something that we
Oh.
called. I think we called a good performance out of Robert Quinn in that front seven. And
Darnell Mooney.
yeah, Darnell Mooney,
Mooney?
even despite some
He
early
didn't look
drops,
with
he was
drops,
big.
but-
Yeah.
Yeah. He had a big game. We needed those guys. See, all those guys that we talked about, they all pretty much came through for the most part. Like,
Yeah.
they had the big games that the Bears needed, that we needed. And
the rest of the team and the coaching.
it's just some other man. You got Vildor out there. Like, yeah, he got a sack in this game, but like, dude, his coverage was just piss poor. And it's the matchups too. I but
dude, we send way too many corner blitzes. I saw like 5 today, bro. It was absurd. And they were beating the blitz with those, because all they're running all game was short routes. The only deep shots that they took were broken plays. Like,
but that's the thing. They was like they were still calling the game defensively, like Lamar Jackson was quarterback. And
Huntley's quick. He's a good quarterback.
Huntley's quick, and so that's why you had to kind of keep it that way. But like at the same time, like you said, you know that they're going to do a lot of the short passing. Lamar can actually take the top off, like more short passing with Huntley. He wasn't doing the deep balls, and he could run a little bit. So you didn't have to quite blitz everybody, because like you should be able to trust that he's not going to make the right decisions as far as a passer goes, because this is his first NFL action in real game.
Yeah, he's just like he's their preseason guy, but you'll like this stat, Joey. I don't think the Ravens have lost a preseason game in like 3 years.
I saw that.
Like I kept seeing it on Twitter where they're just like, there's death taxes and Ravens covering the spread in preseason, which is some absolutely degenerate shit to be betting on preseason. But yeah, I don't know. Like, but that goes to the point that we've all talked about. They win the preseason games every single year. That goes to show you that no matter who is playing at any given time, they know the situation, they know their job, they know what they need to do, and they execute. At the end of the day, they execute. They were the better team. We could have gotten our doors blown off. Like, this could have been way worse. It could have went way better. But to the points that we've made with the front office, with the coaching, with the general dumpster fire that is the Chicago Bears, we're sitting here screaming into our microphones with our forehead veins pulsating once again for the 5th consecutive time, a loss.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's mind numbing, like you said, man. I feel like all 3 of us are sitting here bashing our head against the metaphorical wall right now, like, because it's the same story, and that's the worst part, right? Like, I guess at least you would find maybe a little bit of a silver lining if you go, hey, you know what? The defense played discipline as all hell. Like, the offense, sure, they had a rough day, but they came up big when they needed to. Like, the Ravens were just the better team at the end of the day. If they lost like that today, I would have felt a little better about it. Still would have not been happy, but would have felt a little better. But no, but it's all the dumb shit that we've seen all season long that hasn't changed. And that's what it is. And like, a shout out to our friend Juice on Tap here, kept reposting the headliner of the Nagy "I'm not an idiot" quote all game long. And like, yeah, because nothing's changed. Like, you're not even trying to improve this team. You're just trying to do enough, to skate by the, the hair on your balls every week and stay the head coach. And that's it.
Which might honestly be the only hair on his body. Like, he's built like a thumb, bro, from Spy Kids. That's what he looks like.
He's got the stupidest looking face. Like, I'm sorry, like, it's one of those punchable faces. Every time I see him on the sideline, like, it doesn't matter who he's looking at or who he's talking to when they show him on the sideline. I just want to punch his fucking face every time I see him.
Ron, I have an assignment for you when you go to the game. I need you to, like, bust out. You have an iPhone, right?
I do.
Okay. I need you to start a timer every single time Matt Nagy gets in the shortstop pose. The Popeyes, like, chicken sandwich lady pose with both hands on his knees.
Like,
you know what I'm talking about? And
yeah.
they get him in that pose more often than not. Like, I erupt every time I see it, because like 98% of the time I'm hitting the same pose in my family room, because if you guys don't know, I'm a very superstitious person. Rally cap on, rally cap off. I stand up for 3rd and 4th downs. Like, I don't have like lucky boxers or lucky socks, but as Cubs fans, you guys can appreciate some good superstition. Matt Nagy finds a way to fuck
you're
that
not
up.
Superstitious. You're just a little stitious. All right, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not super. There's nothing about this team that is super. But
No.
do you guys have final wrap up thoughts? Because it's 72 plus, so it's like 108 hours until we got to do all this shit again on a short week, completely battered and injured, like beyond belief.
Yeah, I mean, what a terrible time to play on a Thursday, and it's not even a Thursday night. Like, you don't even get the extra 12 hours. Like,
is it the 11 o'clock slate?
It's the 11:30 game. Yep,
That's
and
disgusting.
so literally, like, half of these guys are gonna probably still be like, I don't know if they're like anything like me. I take like 45 minutes to an hour to wake up and just be like functional, let alone like be prepping for a game 3 hours before kickoff at 8:30 in the morning. Like, what a terrible time. You go into tomorrow, you're telling all these guys ice up. You're probably doing some level of walkthrough tomorrow. And then Tuesday you have a practice, Wednesday you have another walkthrough, and then you're right back at it on Thursday. And sure, it's the Lions. But the Lions tied the Pittsburgh Steelers, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not forget that.
They only lost by 3 today with I don't even know what's the quarterback's name. He's
Blau. Right? David Blau?
No, I think it was Boyle or something. Yeah. Tim Boyle. Yeah. Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, we watch a shit ton of football. I don't even know where that guy went to fucking college, bro. But that's the type of guy that is capable of doing it to you. The guy that caught the game-winning 2-point conversion in the Kansas-Texas game, only guy capable. Never had an offensive snap before that game and goes and catches the game winner. That's why I love this sport, and that's why we got to stay on our toes. Joey, where are you at with the quick turnaround? And like you said, Ron, like that laser pointer probably going to be busy tomorrow, but it's going to be meetings, walkthroughs, and recovery. There won't be no pads or none of that.
No way.
Well, first of all, I don't want to hear the word Texas ever again. I'm done betting on them, and it's just over with after this weekend. Like, they are permanently on the ban list, and I don't know why I fall for it week in and week out.
We honestly, like I say every week, we honestly should just let them secede and become a part of Mexico, like they were trying to do, because they are not a state, my friend.
Not a state. UTSA is a state.
Yes, they are.
UTSA Roadrunners, baby, all the way. But anyways, I would just like to shout out to Tayshaun Gibson, man. He had that was a solid interception. That was absolutely terrific, dude. Like, I don't know how he came up with that, but that was incredible. And I thought Trevis Gibson at times looked pretty good too on the defensive line. And we talked about the front seven a little bit, but I thought he actually had made some plays there. I don't know, quick turnaround. Like, it's going to be tough. You know, Turkey Day, we're all going to be trying to stuff our faces. I'm going to be traveling to 2 different houses. I got my parents and I got my girlfriend's family. So it's like a lot of traveling. You got to watch this game. I don't know why we put ourselves through this. I mean,
it has the potential to ruin Thanksgiving, because it's like Ron said, it is the first thing that we're going to flip on the TV when we wake up, unless your parents make you watch the parade like mine do. But yeah, I am not excited for the possibility of the Bears to ruin my Thanksgiving. And given the circumstances of, like, we already are a dumpster fire as is, and the Detroit Lions, if they get Jared Goff back, that's about as even of a game as it can be, regardless of if it's Dalton or Fields. But thoughts on, because obviously the whole world's going to be running around on Thursday. Maybe Black Friday episode. Like, I don't know if you boys are working, but just for our sanity, because if we lose on Thanksgiving and we do the show, I'm taking like 10 pounds of turkey to the face, turning every light off in my apartment, not watching another single snap of football, and just laying out for the night. Like, I'm done.
I'll probably pass out before I could even think about doing anything.
It's going to be like on your couch with a turkey leg. Ron, you cool with that with Black Friday, guys? For the listeners that are listening, be prepared for a Black Friday episode as opposed to Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I love me a Black Friday episode. Yeah, just going back to your point, just 2 quick little thoughts here at the end. Kudos, Robert Quinn. Looked great today.
Oh, yeah.
Something we didn't touch on, but so the Detroit Lions, the 0-9-1 Detroit Lions lost to the now 6-5 Cleveland Browns, only by 3, with, as you mentioned, Tim Boyle at quarterback, 15 for 23 for 77 yards and 2 picks, and they only lost by 3 points.
If we lose to that guy, he's got to go. He's got to go
Yeah.
if he loses.
Oh, no. That's kind of where I'm going is like, guys, maybe our Thanksgiving's the best one ever when Nagy gets canned before like you're even cutting the turkey on Thursday afternoon.
Holy shit.
Could you imagine?
I
Could
didn't
you
even
imagine
think about it like that, bro.
It literally becomes that like third grade exercise of like, what are you thankful for? And like when everybody sits down at the table, every Bears fan's going to be like, Matt Nagy got fucking canned today, baby. And I am so thankful. So, hey, I'm going to hold out
hope. Sweet potatoes will taste a little bit better if that happens.
Holy shit. Ron from the top rope to reel us to the end of the episode. Boys, I know not really moral victory, guys, but do you have a guy on offense and defense that you would give a game ball to?
Yeah, offensively, game ball, my guy that I picked, Darnell Mooney. I think that's worth noting. I agree, a couple drops that he shouldn't have had, but pretty good there. And just a quick note we didn't get to earlier in the show. Silver linings. You were talking about silver linings here. Bears at least covered by 5.5, meat on the table early enough.
Yes, we did.
From our friend Cody Del Mendo. But
we're good people. We deserve to win that bet, Cody. We're good people.
I wish I would have doubled down with that. I only took money line like a fucking jackass.
See, that
would have been me too. So don't.
But you know what, though, you are all the way invested. You either want it all or you want none of it, and I respect that.
Yeah, and then just quickly, and then I want to let Joey speak because I've talked too much. Defensively, I think we all agree on this one. I'm hard pressed to think we don't. Roquan, easy. Yeah. I'll give a half a game ball to Robert Quinn though, because Robert Quinn balled the fuck out today and played a really good game.
I hope we get that same Robert Quinn for the rest of the season. Joey, for you.
Yeah, hands down, Roquan all the way, and with like you said, Ron, Robert Quinn too, because the strip sack, dude, he was all over the place too. I mean, he got a ton of pressure today, and he was all over. Offensively, it's kind of tough because there was like a few plays that you could I could make a case for Goodwin too with that last play. Yeah. I'll actually give it to Goodwin, I think, just because I think that was so big, like him getting the separation like he did. I know it was only really that one play mostly, but I'll give it to Goodwin just for that.
Well, that type of speed keeps a defense honest, and that play, like I said, like if that was a grenade, not a single bit of shrapnel was hitting any single Raven. On the offensive side of the ball, for me, I'm going to go outside the box, but the Red Rocket, man, I didn't know what to expect when he came in, and I know a lot of the yards, like it's kind of inflated because a lot was yards after the catch. Still got to get the ball there. Still got to make the throw. There was some throws that, like you said, Joey, in the third and fourth quarter that were like, yo, what the hell was that? That one at the end that was called a touchdown that would have given the Ravens a 10-point lead.
Oh, yeah.
There was some scary moments there for a second because I was like, what? They're not even going to cover? But, yeah, I'll give it to Andy Dalton, and I think, like, they talked about it a lot on the broadcast. I was watching the game with my mom, and I was explaining to her how he played against the Ravens 2 times a year for a majority of his career. So he knows the ins and outs, regardless of the coordinator or whatever, like what type of team and what type of defense they're going to throw at him. Yeah. On the defensive side of the ball, I'll be different again. I'll give it to Robert Quinn because as Bears fans, we've been extremely critical of Robert Quinn. And Robert Quinn went and dropped 2 Bdon onomatopoeias in his press conference. For those that don't know, a Bdon onomatopoeia is like my football guy quote of the week. And I didn't drop any on Friday, but call a spade. That's like one of my go-tos. Like I don't beat around the bush, and Matt Nagy is a bush beater. And then you got to do your 1 of 1. That's simply what it comes down to today. Matt Nagy didn't do his 1 of 1. There were some players out there that didn't do their 1 of 1, and at the end of the day, we lost. But with that being said, I think the rant session is over. The losses always tend to go like 15 minutes more than the wins because it's like you just got to get it off your chest. This is I don't know what, like a prayer circle. I don't know what they call those. Like go into the circle and talk about your feelings. But pray for us.
Session right here.
Yeah, pray for us. Give my guys a follow at The Riot 326. Our guy, Mr. Joey Rigoda. He'll probably have some more bets for later in the night and obviously throughout the week. And then make sure to give my guy, Mr. Ron Luce, a follow at Luce on Tap. Guy's an animal, puts out a lot of articles weekly. And, of course, he has the time to sit down and have some conversations with us about our favorite teams, which for all 3 of us, this is the first time, I will say this, in this show's history, that we're all Cubs fans. So it's just gonna roll over into the spring like when we're covering the draft. But with that being said, we are Bears on Tap. Give us a follow at Bears on Tap. Don't forget to follow me. Brandon Suarez at Bdon 300. We'll be back with you guys probably Tuesday night. And then, like I said, for the post game, we're Black Friday, guys. Give you something to watch and laugh about after you go out and spend all your hard-earned money. But with that being said, we really do appreciate you all for listening, and bear down.
Bear down, baby.
Bear down.